The calm waters of the Norfolk Broads might soon be under attack. The little creatures are from Eastern Europe and have already been spotted in some waterways across England.
The Quagga Mussel is a freshwater invasive species. They cross waterways by attaching themselves to boat hulls or fishing equipment. As more people travel, there's a bigger threat of them spreading.
Is there any way we could recognize them?
They've got black and white stripes and could look a bit similar to the Zebra Mussel, which is also very abundant in the Broads here. The main difference is that the stripes are not quite as distinct on the Quagga Mussel, but if you go online at www.nonnativespecies.org, then there's a fantastic identification guide that has all the different sizes and much more information on exactly the key ID features for this species.
What should we do if we find them?
The best thing to do is just to report them, and then we would be able to make sure that we can have an appropriate response. Unfortunately, they're very, very difficult to get rid of once they're established in a water body. Unless you used an awful lot of chemicals or completely dried out the whole of the waterway, there's no real way of getting rid of them. So what we're really encouraging people to do is to put good biosecurity practices in place before they go into the Broads fishing or boating, so that we can do our best to stop them from ever being introduced in the first place. And that's things like washing down boats, if you're a fisherman, drying your equipment before you actually go and fishing in the Broads.
Do they damage the boats in any way?
Well, they basically would just encrust the boat. There'd just be so many mussels, and you can get them all growing around the actual motor itself, and it could cause damage to the motor.
A single female of these species is able to produce more than 1 million eggs. They self-fertilize, so it does not take many of them to have a big population in a new environment.
Has the number of mussels you find on your boats increased?
I wouldn't say increase. We still see mussels on some of the boats, but the cruisers such as we've got here, they're treated with a antifoul that's specifically formulated for Broads use, so it works very, very well in the local environment. Occasionally we'll get boats which have maybe come from other areas, or boats that have been laying for a time on the Broads without being moved, which will have quite a lot of mussel growth on them. What I try and sort of recommend to people is if they have got boats with lots of mussels on, we suspect there's going to be a lot of growth on them, rather than just bring a boat straight round to the boatyard here and lift it, is to take the boat, go either for a little run down the water, or take it down onto salt water, especially because if they're freshwater mussels, the freshwater mussels will fall off once it's driven through salt water.
What are some things people could do to stop the invasive species coming to the Broad?
So some of the problem is with cross-contamination. So if you've got a boat that's being run on a different waterway, perhaps on the Thames, and you bring it up onto the Broads, ideally the boat should be washed down when it's lifted off the Thames before it's brought up to the Broads, and vice versa. So if we're lifting boats out here and they're going down to the Thames, in an ideal world we'd like to lift them, pressure wash them before they're loaded onto transport to move over to a different waterway.
Even though the mussels are small, they could make a huge impact to the local environment.
Even though the mussels are food, none of the native animals have adapted to consuming them, which leads to their rapid population growth. If they do arrive at the Norfolk Broads, there is no knowing what might happen to the environment. If you see any of these mussels on your boat, report them to www.nonnativespecies.org/alerts/Quagga Mussel.